Assalamu alaikum. Muhammad's Sunday Lectures, brought to you by the Nation of Islam, Muhammad's Temple Unite.
Assalamu alaikum. As always, we open up our meetings in prayer. So at this time, I ask each and every one of you to stand in the position of prayer. And for those of you who are tuning in for your very first time, here at Muhammad's Temple of Islam, we are taught to pray in this manner, standing erect with our heels touching at a 45-degree angle, our hands extended as if we're receiving a gift, our heads slightly bowed and our eyes closed to this wicked world. For those of you who know the prayer, say along with me. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, all praises due to Allah, the Lord of all the worlds, the Beneficent, the most merciful Master and Savior of this day of judgment in which we now live. Thee alone do we serve, and to Thee alone do we beseech for Thine aid. O Allah, guide us along the right path, the path of those upon whom Thou hast bestowed favor, and not on the path of those upon whom Thy wrath is brought down, nor of those who have gone astray after they have heard Thy teachings. Ameen. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, we can never give thanks and praise, enough thanks and praise to the one God, the Mahdi in the Muslim world, and the Messiah of the Christian world. And I speak none other than Master W.D. Farad Muhammad. And we can never thank him for coming in the person and raising in our midst a divine leader and teacher, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. In those two great men's name, I greet each and every one of you in our greeting words of peace and paradise in the Arabic language of Assalamu alaikum. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for tuning in and attending today, because we know that you could be any place else. So we are thankful that you are here with us to hear the truth, to receive some of the message that was delivered to us by the messenger of Allah, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. My name is Brother Minister Daniel Shabazz, and I'm just your brother here to help and assist in getting you to the truth. Here at Muhammad's Temple of Islam, we are not like the church. And I reference the church because many of us here in Northern America have been grown and groomed in the church house. And we're accustomed to certain styles, or we're accustomed to a certain way of praising and worship or learning about religion or God. Well, here at Muhammad's Temple of Islam, we are taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that we do things different. A few things you may notice when attending a Muhammad's Temple meeting. One thing you're going to notice is that we don't have a band or a choir, no musical instruments. And it is not that we don't like music or we hate music. No, we understand that we are the creators of music. However, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that we're not here to entertain anyone. In Muhammad's temple, the temple is a place of learning. And just like any place of learning, we want your full and undivided attention. So we don't have musical instruments playing, and we don't have a choir singing and doing dances of praise and worship. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that would only be a distraction from what it would distract us from what is being taught. So here at Muhammad's Temple of Islam, we do not allow any distractions inside of our meeting. And that includes song and worship. Because again, brothers and sisters, we want your undivided attention. And due to the severity of this time, this message and the severity of this message that must get out to our people, we don't have the time to be wasting. We must get this message to you all in time before it's too late. Now, before we get started with my lecture today, I would like each and every one of you to go and grab a pen and some paper. Because again, here at Muhammad's Temple of Islam, we're here to teach you. So there's some things that I would like for you to write down, take notes, and go back and revisit those notes on your off time and do some studying. Because here at Muhammad's Temple of Islam, we want you to get an understanding. We don't want you to come here, hear some good teachings, and go home, and then it's all over with. No, we want you to come here and learn the truth. Go home and research, study, because we want you to have an understanding. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that out of all thy getting, get an understanding. So we want the understanding to be made clear. We don't just tell you to believe in what we're teaching. No, we don't just tell you to just believe. Because as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us, that mere belief counts for nothing unless carried into practice. So we want you to have an understanding. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that we need to have a thorough knowledge of self. A thorough knowledge. Not just some knowledge. We need a thorough knowledge. So we have to do a lot of studying. We are required to study. And we encourage you all who are listening and tuning in today to study. Okay. Well, I want to give a recap of last week's lecture, part 1 of The Real Devil. Last week, I want to start first by correcting a mistake I made. Now, it ain't that what I said is not true. I just made a slight mistake, and I want to correct that right in the public. So forgive me. Sometimes when we're teaching, we're so engulfed in our topic that sometimes we miss a few things. Last week I mentioned in the history of Yaqub, who is the father of the white race. Yaqub. I mentioned that it was him and 59,000 people who went to the island to make the man. I want to correct that. It's 59,999 people, including himself, making the 60,000th person. Okay, so I want to just make that clear, brothers and sisters. And again, forgive me for making that error, or excuse me, that mistake. Now, last week, we covered a few things. We discussed the history of a little bit of the history of Yaqub. And I want to remind you all that these subjects, I'm trying to compress it down as short as I can to give you some understanding. But there is so much detail in these teachings that we can't give it to you in 1 hour. So I want you to understand that first. If you really want to get a full understanding, you're going to have to come into the temple. You're going to have to study the literature, the books that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad given us, and you're going to have to come in and get some training. Because that's the only way we're going to be able to give you a full understanding. But I will try my best, and Allah willing, you will get some understanding today. So last week we covered a little bit of the history of Yaqub. We talked about the making of the white man. We went into the Bible in Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, where it talked about the making of the white man. We talked a little bit about why we call the white man the devil. Now I'm going to repeat something because that's a good question that a lot of people ask. Why did the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teach that the white man is the devil? And I hear a lot of people tell me, hey, I believe a lot of what y'all teach, but the white man being the devil, it's like that one thing kind of turns a lot of people away. So why did the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teach us that the white man is the devil? It's not that we want to make mockery of the white man. And it's not that we hate white people, why we teach that. As I mentioned last week, it's due to the nature of the white man that makes him a devil. For some people, they have a hard time digesting that. And I get it. For me, in my case, it was a little bit different. I didn't have a hard time to digest that when I first heard it. And that's due to my history with white people. When I was in elementary school, 2nd grade, I never forget this in life. And I've told this story many a times throughout my life. But when I was in 2nd grade, I went to an elementary school in Texas, San Antonio, Texas. And at that time, it was predominantly white. Matter of fact, it was all white. There were 3 black people at the entire school. Me, a sister, and a half-breed brother. Just us 3. We were the only 3 black people in the entire school. Now, when I say it didn't take much convincing to me to understand how they can be the devil, it's because when I was growing up in that elementary school, you got to put yourself in the mindset of a child. Okay? I'm in the 2nd grade. I'm a child. And in my classroom, I was the only black person in my class. Remember, there was 3 black people in the entire school. But in my classroom, I was the only one. So I would hear conversations, overhear other people talking. And also, sometimes they'd be talking at me or about me. I remember specifically watching Roots in class for Black History Month. That's right. Back in my days, we watched Roots in class. I don't know what they're doing today. But in my day, we used to watch Roots. So we watching Roots. And I'm going to tell you, when I was a child, I hated Black History Month due to this reason. I hated it. I used to hate it because I felt embarrassed. And it's a shame that I have to say this, or I had to feel this way. But I felt embarrassed because all of the white children in class would make fun of black people on that movie. And everybody would look at me. I remember when there was a scene where Kunta Kinte was getting beat, and they was asking him, "What's your name, boy?" And he kept saying Kunta. And every time he said Kunta, they whip him. Wham! And they asked him again, "What's your name, boy?" Because they were trying to force him to become Toby, to take their name, to accept their name. So every time they whoop him, the class would start laughing, and they look at me. Now I'm in the classroom, all eyes on me, and they laughing. I'm looking at the movie, and I'm like, this is messed up. I'm hurt. So movie goes on. There was other scenes too that really stood out. There was a time where one of the white boys in the class repeated something said in the movie, which said nigger. Everybody looked at me. Then there was a time where Kunta got his foot chopped off. For some reason, that was the part that really got to me the most. When they chopped Kunta's foot off for running away. I was proud that he ran away, but he got caught. And when they chopped his foot off, a rage went through me. Now I'm a child. And when they chopped that foot off of Kunta, the classroom erupted. They laughing and joking. At that moment, I was furious. I was angry because I thought that was horrifying. Now remember, I'm a child. So fast forward to today, my first time hearing this knowledge. It didn't take much convincing for me because I've seen a lot of things in that school. There was some things that I didn't even mention. Besides me getting chased home from school, I got chased home from school every single day. Every day. I don't remember one day they didn't chase me and the sister home from school. Now, here we are today. And when I heard this, I knew this was true. I knew this was true just off of the history that I learned in school about these people. So it didn't take much convincing for me, but for some people, it takes a lot of convincing. And I understand it. I understand it after being raised up from my mental condition into the knowledge. I understand why it's hard for our people to understand and accept, because we're trained or programmed a certain way. Now, we covered quite a bit last week, and I pray that many of you watching today got some understanding. So we're going to move a little bit forward and try to open this can up a little bit wider. Now, we got to understand this. It's a must that we understand this. Why? What is the importance of understanding who the devil is? Well, the importance of us knowing who the devil is so that we will no longer be deceived, and we won't fall victim to his deceit, his lies, his hate, and fall victim to some of his heinous crimes against us. See, we need to know and be able to recognize and identify the devil so we can separate ourselves. See, if we didn't know or continued to walk through life not knowing who the devil was, we wouldn't know that we are being deceived. And we'd fall into all the traps that he set before us. Now, let's look at a couple examples, because I love giving examples, because I want you to get an understanding of what I'm talking about today. You know, for example, if you're able to recognize and identify a thief, right? And you know this man is a thief. You won't leave your jewels or your expensive possessions around this man. Is that right? Why? Because you don't want him to steal from you. You won't invite this man in your house knowing you got valuable goods in your house. Is that right? You won't tell this man the things that you have hidden because you know that he will be plotting to get it. Is that right? Well, that's the same purpose of knowing who the devil is today. If you knew of a killer, you would do everything you can to avoid it. Is that right? Y'all ever watch the movie Friday? Well, on Friday, everybody would see Debo coming. And what they do when they seen Debo coming? They start tucking their chains and taking off their watches and rings and hiding all of their expensive things, right? Why? Because they knew that Debo was a robber. And if he seen something he liked, he gonna take it. Is that right? But if they did not recognize Debo for who he was, what do you think would happen? They would be Debo's victim. Is that right? And that's the importance of us knowing who the devil is so we won't fall victim to the devil. It's just like, let's just say you're in a desert, right? And you run across a rattlesnake, right? Would you go and pet the rattlesnake and start playing with it? No, because you know what the rattlesnake is. You know the rattlesnake is a deadly snake, right? Now let's just say you didn't know. What if you didn't know that a rattlesnake was deadly? And you walking through the desert and you see the rattlesnake and you go to petting and playing with it. What do you think will happen? If the rattlesnake was to turn around and bite you, whose fault would it be? Well, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that the devil, he once described the devil and he used snakes. He said there's some venomous snakes that are poisonous, and there's some harmless snakes. There's some big snakes, there's some little snakes. Now, when we say that the white man is the devil, we don't mean all of them are the same. Some of them are venomous. Some of them are dangerous and deadly. And then some of them are harmless. But it is in their nature that makes them all the same. So, knowing that they are the devil, it is wise that we do what we can to stay away and stay out of the harm of that and stay away from them as far as avoiding the traps that they have set for us. And by knowing them, it increases our chances of avoiding their traps, their deceit, their hateful acts towards us. Let's look at another example. Let's just say in 1555, right? When some of our people were brought over here on boats. Let's just say in 1555, our people knew the devil, the white man was the devil, right? Let's just say in 1555, our people knew who they were. Do you think they would have allowed them to get them on the boat and bring them off their land onto shore, get into the ocean with these people, knowing who they are? Do you think that they would allow them to do that, take them away? Let's think over this, brothers and sisters. You think they would allow them to get them on the boat shackle them up once they were in the middle of the ocean, get them over here, beat, lynch, rape, kill, and divide them up from their families and sell them as property. If they would have known who they were, do you think they would have allowed that? Think over this, brothers and sisters. Now ask yourself this: what kind of man would do that to another people? What kind of man would take a people, trick them into getting on a boat, get them on the boat, sail in the middle of the ocean, pull out their weapons, start handcuffing and beating and chaining them up, get them to a land, divide them up from their families, sell them, and beat them into submission, kill some of them just to prove a point in some of the worst ways known to man? What kind of man would do that? Ask yourself this. Do you know what happened during the transatlantic slavery trade? Do you know some of the things that they had done to our people? They used to do some of the most wicked things that a man has ever even heard of. You know, they would take a pregnant woman. They would cut the pregnant woman's belly. And when the baby fell out, they'd take the heel of their boot and stomp the baby's head and squish it right in front of the other children and other family and others to install fear in those people. Do you know they used to take a pregnant woman with the child inside of her and other children beside her, take the husband, tie him up, throw hot tar on him, throw chicken feathers all over him to humiliate him, tie his feet to a horse, set him on fire, slap the butt of the horse so the horse would take off and drag that man until his flesh falls all off of his bone. That's sick. What kind of man would do something like that? Ask yourself that. What kind of man would do that? What kind of man would take a man, put him in a steel box, and set the box on fire and watch that man alive burn to death inside of a steel box? What kind of man would take a man, tie him to a stake, and set him on fire alive while they got everybody watching? You know, I seen a picture, and I have this picture too of a lynching, where they lynching this brother. They got him chained to a stake with chains, and he's burning on fire, and you can see the pain in this man's face. And then all around him is people. It's like the whole neighborhood came out to watch it. You got people in the crowd eating popcorn while they watching this man suffer. You got people out there smiling. You got children out there watching this. What kind of people would do that? Ask yourself this. What kind of people will go to another man's land uninvited? Just show up. Go over there, act friendly, act like he's a friend, turn right around and betray the man. Kill off all the men, rape the women, and steal the land. What kind of man do that? Now, I want you to think about this. Where in history do you find the original man doing that? Where in history can you find black people doing these type of things? I want y'all to think about this, brothers and sisters. We don't just call him the devil for no reason. You might say to yourself, Brother Daniel, all people do evil and wickedness. Black people do wickedness and evil too. I'm not going to disagree with you on that. Yes, we do. But where do we learn it from? Ask yourself this. Where did we learn it from? We got to study history, brothers and sisters. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and I love to repeat this over and over because it is so true. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that history best qualifies and rewards all of our research. We have to study history, brothers and sisters. I want y'all to go back and study history. What type of people would do this to another people? Well, again, you might say, well, Brother Daniel, everybody do wickedness. But we got to learn, where did it start? Where did we get it from? Because this is something we learned. What we see today has only been around 6,000 years. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that there was a time, all of this came during the time of the white man. And history will prove that. We can go back and study history and we can find that out to be true. So let's examine us today, okay? Since we like to say that, oh, well, black people do these things too. Okay, we do. But we got to remember where we learned it from. What are we doing today? When we examine ourselves, let's put ourselves on the examining table today. What are we doing? Let's look at our youth. They're in gangs, right? We're going to look at all of the destructive things that are being done in our community. And we're going to pinpoint the root on where this comes from. Our youth are in gangs, right? Not just our youth, because we got some grown men today that are well up in age, still gang banging. So gangs, where did we learn that from? Who taught us this? You got to think. I want you all to really think. Let's go back 100 years. Let's go back 400 years, right? Now, you got to remember, our minds were erased. They erased our minds. What they did, they took our children, separated that child from his mother and his grandparents, so they couldn't teach the child, so that they can teach the child. When that child grew up, all it knew was to be a slave. That's all it knew from birth to adulthood. And when that slave had a child, it was raised up to be a slave. So let's take this for 300 plus years of this going on. From this day all the way from 300 years later, what do you think this child is going to be? You think it's going to know? We got to a point we couldn't even think for ourselves as slaves. So here we are, only 100 and something years past slavery, out of slavery. We're only freed over 100 years, right? A little over 100 years. And we still have the mind of that slave. We just coming out of that mentality, and we still have it today. So think about it. When we got free, what did we know? We didn't know nothing but how to work for the white man. That's all we knew. So we came up watching them, learning from them, wanting what they had. because we didn't know nothing else. We didn't know nothing about the homeland we came from or the homeland we had before they came. We didn't know nothing about it. So here we are today in gangs. Where did we learn it from? We learned it from watching Al Capone, right? Al Capone and Bonnie and Clyde and all of these gangsters. That's where we learned it from. So here we are today. We watched them and we wanted to be like them because we seen that they were powerful men. They got respected. They had money. They had the girls. They had the cars. They had nice clothes. They had everything that we wanted. So we followed them. What else is destructive in our neighborhoods? We see that we all carrying guns that we only gonna use on each other. They say a nigga go buy a gun to protect himself from another nigga. That's what they say. And it's true. Black people only gonna buy a gun with the intentions of either protecting himself from another black man or to go out and harm another black man. Is that right? Guns. We don't own no gun manufacturers. We didn't manufacture guns. Who made the guns? And we all can agree that a gun is a destructive weapon. Is that right? I know we all can agree on that. Well, who produced this destructive weapon? Who produced it? Was it our people that produced it? Was it that mystery creature underground that produced these guns? That produced gangs? What else goes on in our neighborhood? Robbery. Oh, we see that a lot. I've actually watched a lot of videos this week of so many robberies. Some robberies gone wrong, and then just some robberies that was it just hurt my heart to see the way our people are today. But where did we learn that from? Who taught us how to rob? We didn't know nothing about it because remember, at one point in time, we were slaves. We watched them robbing. Remember, they had the wild, wild west where they was going around doing them robberies and stuff. That's where we learned it from, watching them. Remember, we didn't have no guns. We got the guns from them, and we learned how to use them from them. What else? Pimping. Prostituting our women out. Where did we learn that from? We learned that from them. Is that right? Drugs. Where did we learn that from? Where did we get that from? We didn't have no drug manufacturing companies. We learned that from them. We wasn't in the laboratories making we wasn't in the laboratories making drugs unless we was doing it working for them. But where do we get these street pharmaceuticals from? We learned it from them. We got it from them, right? Come on. Alcohol. Where did we get alcohol from? We learned it from them, right? I remember, tell y'all something, share something with y'all. I used to be an alcoholic. I was heavy into drinking. And as an alcoholic, we don't make some of the best choices in life or clear decisions in life. You make some stupid choices. So we can all agree that alcohol, it alters your state of mind. And that's not a good thing. That's a bad thing. It takes you away from your original state of thinking and alters your mind. So Another thing, homosexuality. Where do we get that at? And it seems like we're targeted for that. Nowadays, black people are the poster child for homosexuality. Look at us. Don't nothing scream homosexuality louder than a black man or a black woman. We take it to the extremes, don't we? So sickening. Where do we learn these things at? It's so sad. These people are so sick. They have what they call bestiality. Bestiality. That's something that they learn in the caves. That's right. Now, I want y'all to write this down. Those of you who got your pen and your pad, and I want you to do some research on it. I want you to go back and research the Dark Ages. Okay? Look up the Dark Ages and do some researching about the Dark Ages. Find out, because this is a part of their history that they teach you about, and it shows their nature in their history. Study the medieval times. Medieval. Medieval. Get it? But the medieval is spelled MEDEVIL. No, EVAL, excuse me. It's MEDIVAL, medieval. Study the medieval times in the Dark Ages, and you'll get a better glimpse of these people and what their nature is about. And then you add up all of the history that you find here and all over the world. And this will teach you exactly what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was trying to deliver to us. It shows you that, and it bears witness to what he was teaching us. Go back and study their history. And again, I have to repeat this. History best qualifies and rewards all of our research. We can learn a lot from their history. You know, and it's important to study history. Why? Because it gives you an understanding of who or what you're dealing with. For an example, when we want to hire somebody, right? We go through what they call a history, their job history. We want to find out what they've done in the past to qualify themselves for the position that they're applying for. Is that right? History. This is why it's important. This is how you get to know a person. When you meet a person and you want to get to know that person, you ask questions about their past. So that gives you an idea of what type of person you're dealing with. Is that right? You exchange histories with a person you just meet because you're all trying to get to know each other, right? And then once you go through the history, and then sometimes you have witnesses that was there at certain times that can bear witness to what they're telling you about their past. So now you get a better understanding of that person. Is that right? You get to know that person. Well, this is the same thing we're trying to get over to you, so you can get to know your open enemy. You can get to know the devil, because it's important that you know these things. For one, so you don't fall victim to any of their wickedness. And for two, so you don't end up in the same place that they are headed for, and that's doom and destruction. Now, history. See, we can all agree that history teaches us a lot about a person, place, or thing. Well, this is all what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was given to deliver to us by Almighty God Allah. Is history. Not just history of the past. Like I said and mentioned in our last video, when the black man write history, he write it today about tomorrow. So we also have the history, meaning from the beginning to the end of this devil's rule. And it's important that we learn this again, so we won't be deceived, brothers and sisters, because they are still constantly working day and night to deceive you and I. They are working hard day and night to deceive us. And see, many of them know this history. They know their history. Many of them don't know their history. But those up top ruling the world, the ruling classes of this world, they know the history. This is why they hid, or should I say their hidden history. They hid it from even their own in order for them to rule. They had to hide themselves, because if they came out and told you they was the devil, we wouldn't fall for it. We would never fall for their tricks. We wouldn't trust them. So they had to hide their history, because if we was to ever discover their history, we would discover who they are. So they hid it. And what they did, they formed secret societies. And you all are familiar with Skull and Bones, Illuminati, and all of these other different groups of secret societies, right? Now, these secret societies hold secrets of their history. They know about them being kicked out of Mecca. They know about them being ran up into the hills and cave sides of Europe, known as the Caucasus Mountains, hence the name Caucasian. They know their history. This is why they do rituals in their history, in which today we know because it's all being revealed. See, ever since ever since Master Fard Muhammad has come on the scene, he brought the truth. And that truth is light. And he shined that light on everything. So they can't hide no more with them secrets. Them secrets are being revealed. And even to this day, things are popping out. Look around the world today, you see all the secrets being revealed. Who would have ever thought that P. Diddy would be going through what he's going through? Now all his secrets are popping out. Who would have ever thought that the Trump administration will be going through what he's going through? All his secrets are starting to pop out. Biden's secrets popping out. You got the scientific secrets popping out. You got all of these military secrets popping out. Everything is starting to be revealed because Allah is shining the light on everything, because it's time, brothers and sisters. It's time for everything to be revealed. And as the Bible teaches us in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, I believe it's 2 Thessalonians. Give me 1 second, brothers and sisters. Yeah, it's 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3 through 10. And it teaches us that the man of sin must be revealed. Is that right? Or will be revealed. The man of sin will be revealed. Now, I know last week we covered on the devil being a man. Many of you may still be on the fence in believing or accepting that is true. But all through the Bible, it teaches us that the devil is a man. It teaches us that. This is why I say the man of sin will be revealed. He must be revealed. He was hidden. And today, that revelation is being made right in our face. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was given the truth and taught us about this man and revealed him, just as the prophecy said. The man of sin will be revealed. You mean the creature underground, No, the man of sin. You mean the snake in the garden? Nope. The man of sin will be revealed. You mean the spirit demon? No, the man of sin will be revealed. Who is that man? None other than the white man. Yakub's grafted devil. Now, it's a lot in their history that was hidden, and it was a mystery. It was a mystery. But again, since Master Farad Muhammad's coming, a lot of things just started unwinding, unveiling. And it's progressing day and day and day. And now we know, many of you know, if you study the Skull and Bones or the Illuminati, you know that they have a ritual where they walk across hot coals. Is that right? Do many of you even understand why they do that? They walk across the hot coal because that is a part of their history. They are reliving out their history that took place when they was ran out of Mecca. They was ran out of Mecca for doing the same things we see them doing today, causing mischief, right? Making trouble, telling lies. This is what they do. Look at the media today. We all know that they be lying. It's not a secret. They lie to us every single day. Been lying to us. And some of y'all getting ready for the big lie. Y'all lining up. Gonna be at them voting polls. Going to vote. Because somebody, and you're gonna fall for the lie from the person you're going to vote for. They lie to you every election. Tell you this, give you empty promises that they never fulfill. Never. But you'll run down there anyway. They lied to us about all of these things. They lied to us about the COVID. They lied to us about all of these things. They lied to us about the religion that they call the religion of God. That's right, brothers and sisters. They lied to us. They lied and said that Christianity was the religion of God and had us believing in it. And we, being such foolish people, we didn't even challenge it. We didn't question what they was teaching us. We took it without no proof and believed it. But we didn't know any better. Now the truth is here, though. That veil has been lifted off of that religion. Now we know that we've been lied to. Many of you know it in your heart, but you still hold on to it because that's all you know. You've been into that religion your whole life. Your parents was Christian. So I get it. I was raised in a Christian home myself. So I understand how strong belief can be. But again, belief counts for nothing unless carried into practice. We want the truth today. We want the truth. We don't want to live on just believing no more. You can't tell us that. In our lessons, it asks us a question. Say, can the devil fool a Muslim? And the answer is not nowadays. Why? Because nowadays we know who the devil is. We know who the devil is. You can't fool us today. We're not going to fall for the okie doke because we know. And we want to get this over to you all so you all will know as well. And you have a better chance of making a decision whether you're going to remain holding on to this world or you're going to let go. This is a day of decision. We got to have a clear decision today. And again, we don't want to force anybody into believing what we believe. Oh no. Islam is not forced upon no one. It shouldn't be forced on to nobody. Nobody forced me to be a Muslim. I came on my own free will, just like all the others that I know. They'll try to tell you, oh, Islam is a slavery religion. No, it's not. It never was. They try to say that the Muslims had enslaved, or they call it the Islamic slave trade. I've heard it phrased that way. Islamic slave trade, that's a lie. That's a contradiction. You can't have Islamic and put it in the same sentence as slave trade because it goes against each other. It's a contradiction. You can't have peace and then make a slave out of somebody. That's a contradiction. Now, what it was, what would have been more accurate if they would have said an Arabic slave trade. You see where I'm going with this? An Arabic slave trade. The Arabs had slaves. That's not a secret. But it wasn't Islam that enslaved anybody. They had an Arab slave. And see, this is the thing. Many of our people confuse Arab culture with Islam. Two different things. But we're not going to talk about that today. We're here to talk about this devil. So I just wanted to clarify a few things for us. Because brothers and sisters, it's important. It's important that we understand the truth today. For the simple fact, we all have to make a decision. We're at the end of time. What time? The end of this world that was ruled by the devil. Remember last week's lecture, we talked about the devil given 6,000 years to rule. Is that right? We're at the end of that 6,000. That 6,000 year is up. It was up in 1914. The only reason why the devil was given an extension of time was because of you and I. Allah is so merciful to us. He wanted to save us that he gave us time to get ourselves together. And the devil only buying himself time by keeping you tied to him, by keeping us out here on this foolishness, keeping us away from learning the truth. But time is going to run out for many of us. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said you should accept the truth when you hear it. Because it could be over with tomorrow. It could be over with in 5 seconds. You should accept the truth when you hear it. And we don't have time to play around with you all. We don't have time to be playing. I advise each and every one of you, brothers and sisters, to come, accept your own, and be yourself. Righteous Muslim. Accept your own. You know, there's so much more to go over. And there's so much more to teach you all. We don't have a lot of time to teach you all in one lecture. This is why we have classes. This is why we have study material. We have study material that it could take so long just to go over one topic. And we want to get this over to you. So this is why we need you to come in so you can learn more. We can't raise a nation online. At some point in time, you're going to have to come on into the temple and let us build. Let us go to work. There's a lot to be done, brothers and sisters. And we're going to need each other to do it. So we're calling on you. We need you, just like you need us. We need each other. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us the importance of unity. And unity is one of the bases of our teachings. To unite. The oneness of God. In some places, we're all described as a body. Allah being the head. What does that teach you? That we are one. We're one body together. And this is what we're doing here at Muhammad's Temple United. We want to unite the body, bring the body back together. How long, brothers and sisters, are we going to go divided? How much longer will it take for you and I to come together and unite and become one? A solid wall. Our unity is more powerful than an atomic bomb. This is what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us. Our unity is more powerful than an atomic bomb. We all know how powerful an atomic bomb is. But our unity is more powerful. Why? Because together there is nothing we cannot accomplish. And especially when we got the real God behind us. And he's with us. As long as we with him, he's with us. And he's proven that. For those of you who disbelieve, I say go study the history of the Nation of Islam under the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. If God was not with him, there is no such thing as a God. God helped him build that nation to what it is. And we're going to cover that at some point in time too, because I want to go over a few things with you pertaining that. So at this time, I'm going to conclude my lecture, and I pray Allah that you got some understanding. And I want to extend the invitation to you all to accept your own. The Nation of Islam belongs to you, brother, sister. It's yours. You don't have to go through no ritual to be a member of your own nation. You don't have to pay no money to be a member of your nation. All you have to do is accept your own. Reclaim your own. It's yours. Reclaim it. That's it. It belongs to you. Allah, in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, came to give it to us, to offer it to us. Before his coming, we didn't know who we were. We didn't have a nation. Now we have a flag of our own. This is our flag. It belongs to you and I. It's a beautiful flag. It's a universal flag. That flag is telling us that everything in the universe is ours. Allah came to give us the kingdom. He said that this universe belongs to you. Not only just this earth, the whole universe. All we have to do is reclaim it and go to work on ourselves, because we have to qualify ourselves in order to receive it. It's just like if you were, let's say you win a prize. They have certain qualifications for you to get to receive your prize, right? You have to qualify this. You have to have this. You have to have a state issued ID. You have to have all of these things to get the qualifications, right? Well, this is the same thing with our nation. Yes, it belongs to us. It's ours. But are we qualified enough to own it, to maintain it? We have to qualify ourselves. And we have to get that brown germ up out of us. That's that devil. That devil inside of us. Meaning we have to go to work on ourselves. Let's go to work and perfect ourselves. Allah came to make us God. You heard it in the scripture. Ye are all gods under the Most High. So Allah came to put us back on our throne, to put us back in our rightful place. So we're asking you to come. Come, join on to your own. Again, you don't have to join the Nation of Islam. You're already a part of it. You're already a member. You just have to reclaim it. It's yours. So, brothers and sisters, for those of you who believe what you heard today is the truth, and you want to learn more, we ask that you come back. And we ask that you contact us. For those of you who are ready to reclaim your own, we ask that you contact us. For those of you out there who want to unite, who are already members, and you want to unite with your brothers, we ask that you contact us. We have a number that we're going to be providing here at the end of this broadcast, so stay tuned. And give us a call. Contact us. If you're in an area where there is no temple and you would like to be a part of the temple, contact us so we may direct you to the nearest temple, or we have other services that we can provide for you. And I want you all to be careful, brothers and sisters, because there's a lot out there. There's a lot out there that you can fall into a trap. The devil is wickedly wise, and he's after each and every one of us. He's after us because he knows that by having us, it extends his time. But his day is up. It's your day now. It's your time. Aren't you tired of being ruled by another man? When are we going to stand up and be the rulers of ourselves? It's time. Again, I pray, Allah, that you all have gotten some understanding of what was taught today. And I'd like for you all to come back. Remember to invite a friend and family, because this information is important. And it's important that we get it out to each and every one of you so you have an opportunity and a chance to accept it. And a chance to make a decision, whether you want to accept it or not. It's totally up to you. If you don't want to accept it, that's fine with us. Now, I also want to say, invite you all out next week. Make sure you tune in. Our great brother from New York will be teaching a very powerful subject next week. So make sure you tune in. And Allah willing, our brother will deliver his message, the message to you. Okay, brothers and sisters, at this time, I ask that each and every one of you stand for prayer. As always, we're taught to open and close all our all our meetings in prayer. So at this time, I ask that you all stand in the position of prayer. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. All praise is due to Allah, the Lord of all the worlds, the Beneficent, the most merciful Master and Savior of this day of judgment in which we now live. To thee alone do we serve, and to thee alone do we beseech for thine aid. O Allah, guide us along the right path, the path of those upon whom thou hast bestowed favor, and not on the path of those upon whom thy wrath is brought down, nor of those who have gone astray after they have heard thy teaching. Say, He, Allah, is one God. Allah is He of whom nothing is independent, but upon whom we all depend. He neither begets nor is He begotten, and there is none like unto Him. And I bear witness that there is none to be served or worshipped besides Master Farad Muhammad. And I bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is thy last and greatest messenger to we, the lost and found members here in the wilderness of North America. Ameen. Okay, brothers and sisters, at this time I leave you all in the same greeting of peace and paradise as I greeted you all in the Arabic language of Assalamu alaikum.
If you believe what you heard taught today on Islam is true, and you would like to learn more or you are ready to accept and reclaim your own, contact the Lost Found Nation of Islam Muhammad's Temple United at 623-312-4352. Again, that's 623-312-4352. We thank you for joining us today and we ask that you return next Sunday and invite your family and friends. We ask your support so that we may continue to get the truth out to our people. You may contribute by donating to our Cash App at $MT United, that's $MT United.
The Lost and Found Nation of Islam, Muhammad's Temple United, is seeking to unite with all of the believers in temples across the country. If you are a member or a part of a temple, or if you have a temple, contact us and let us unite one nation under one way of life, Islam as taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Don't see your city or state? Let's change that. Let's unite and put your temple on the map of unity. Let us not come together in unity in belief only, but let us come together and unify as one in practice. The time is now, black man and woman. Your nation awaits you. Assalamu alaikum.